Look, it's a flood!
It's a flood!
It's flooding!
Get away!
Quick, we need to get to higher ground!
Open the floodgates!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
You practicing on our NPR sponsorship?
I was gonna say, this is The Flood at Midnight with Doc and Ziggy on NPR, and the levels are rising!
And crashing stop!
This is Doc
And Ziggy!
with
The flood.
and around here, what
do we do? We bring our pop perspective.
With the to put the culture in context.
There you go. That's next. And make the mainstream make sense. Because if we do not make sense, we do not make dollars.
Holla! I don't know what happened there. It's only been a week. I shouldn't have forgotten what we do already.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, oh man, we had to take a break because I was completely swamped with schoolwork.
Sometimes life happens. That's all. Like, sometimes life happens. And listen, this we don't get paid for this yet. But as long as we don't get paid for it when things happen, we gotta, take a break. But it's not time for a break yet.
Some things happen when we go on a break, like oh yeah, there was another shooting.
Not just any shooting, because before we went on a break, there was a shooting, right? That one was at a grocery store. This one
at an elementary school.
At an elementary school. Oh my God, at an elementary school.
We'll come back to that. Because there are some cool things coming out, like a God of War TV series.
They're also working on a Horizon Zero Dawn TV.
Since it's now public domain as of January of this year, someone is making a Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
The fuck do you mean?
Winnie the Pooh horror movie. And other things that are coming out, it has now been confirmed by Togashi himself! Hunter x Hunter is coming back!
You mean the Togashi?
The Togashi.
Oh,
Togashi
boy.
Joins Twitter. He posts like a corner of a page that he's writing and says, 4 chapters done.
Save it, because we're going to talk about it.
Lupe Fiasco is teaching rap at Massachusetts Institute for Technology, also known as MIT.
Hey, shout out to Lupe, but we're going to talk about that shit, because I got some questions.
Because, Seth Green also got trolled. The Secret Service saved G.W. Bush, and there are mutant hamsters that totally don't resemble the T-virus.
Did you say mutant hamster?
Yeah, mutant hamsters.
All right. Well, you know how we like to get things started around here while we're keeping things in context, right? Taking that macro perspective. We like to start with a little look back into the way back
with this day in history, one week from today.
Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
But not like the day we're recording this, but the day that you'll be hearing this,
which is 1 week from today when we're recording it. But the day that we're going over is the day
that this releases.
The day you'll be here.
It'll be June 4th, just like I remember, because I totally wrote it down. In 1615.
On June 4th, 1615.
June 4th, 1615.
First of all, 1615.
Yeah.
That's way back.
Well, it kind of has long-lasting impacts because, it was the siege of Osaka under which the shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu took full control of Japan, unified Japan, and then cut them off from Western civilization for 200 years.
Okay, so that was the beginning of Japan as most of us understand.
That is the era of the samurai.
Yeah, like imperialist Japan.
Yeah,
right.
but
the land of the rising sun, Japan.
Yeah,
right.
This marks the.
That's Japan, right?
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this marks the end of the feudalist Japan, and then the Tokugawa regime, which then goes into the Meiji era. So the Tokugawa regime was basically a unified government that stopped most of the warring, like, imperialism.
Tribal states. It unified Japan and gave Japan the national identity that we understand it as today.
And then the Tokugawa era came to an end when the West came and, well, did Western things.
Gotcha. Okay, so...
In 1896, Henry Ford takes the first Ford through the streets of Detroit.
Whew, I wonder how much gas price was it. was it a gas vehicle? Yeah, no, it was a gas vehicle.
It was probably a gas vehicle, but also one he had to, like, get inside the car and, like, crank it.
Oh, well, yeah. No, it's one of those old-timey, for sure. But all I'm saying
It's the first car.
Yeah, and now gas is fucking $4.50 a gallon, so...
Don't remind me.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky. Because in a lot of places...
It's a lot more than that.
$8 a fucking gallon.
In 1940, British complete the miracle of Dunkirk by evacuating 338,226 Allied troops from France via a flotilla of over 800 vessels, including Royal Navy destroyers, merchant marine boats, fishing boats, pleasure craft, and even lifeboats. That is the event that the movie Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan, starring Tom Hardy, is about.
Did you see it?
No, but I heard it was good.
Listen, that doesn't take away from the importance of the event.
Yeah, I mean, like a third of a million people?
Listen,
a third of a million people!
There's a reason why they called it a world war, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
To round out this week's World War II updates, the Fifth Army enters and liberates Rome from Mussolini fascist armies. And then they killed Mussolini and dragged his body through the streets.
Pretty intense for June 4?
Yeah, well, there's one last really intense thing that happened on June 4th, and it was the Tiananmen Square massacre in China. The very famous picture of the guy standing in front of the tank.
Well, you mean the guy that got run over by the tank?
Yeah, I said the picture of him standing in front of the tank. I did not.
Before he got run over
by the tank.
Because he got run over by the tank.
Yeah.
Because, they like to say that they didn't, but
they kind of did.
They did.
They did.
It wasn't a kind of. How do you kind of run over a nigga in a tank? You don't kind of run over. No, you kind of run over a nigga in a Mini Cooper, right? Like you kind of run over a nigga in a smart car, right? Like in a golf cart. You don't kind of run over a nigga in a tank. The fuck?
I think if a smart car hit Debo would be fine. I think he might actually be able to stop the smart car.
I like how you pick Debo when there's like, I don't know, Jason Momoa. Like, the literal Rock, right? Like,
I mean, the first thing that I thought of was, what bike? Debo. I don't know why, I was just
not how I said the literal Rock just now and was referring to the person, The Rock, and not a literal rock.
Or the Nicolas Cage movie.
So as we roll along here, were there any more This Day in History's 1 week from today?
No, that rounds out This Week in History 1 week from today. However, there is one other historical thing that I found interesting happened in the news. And it's not Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker getting married for the third time.
The third time?
The third time.
I'm gonna have to pull that article up because I really need to know, like, what they mean.
the third time. How could you, like, alright.
So, no.
I can understand possibly getting married a second time. What? How could you go the third time and be like, you know what? Maybe they literally were like, third time's the fucking charm. Oh, I'm totally wrong about how this whole works.
Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker said, I do for the third time on Sunday, according to a Yahoo article. The couple had 3 weddings in the past year. This one, a lavish ceremony in Portofino, Italy. Sorry for butchering the name of that town.
Now, I'm guessing they just want to get legally married in a bunch of different spots?
Barker's representatives confirmed the wedding to USA Today after the musician's teen daughter, Alabama, shared images of her father and Kardashian, clad in white gown and the other.
Okay, this is no longer news.
So it was never news in the first place. Getting married 3 times, though,
It's a little extra.
It's extra celebrity shit. I'm assuming that in this case, they did it, like, you know, for his family, then once for, like, her family, and then, like, once again for themselves.
This is some pure Hollywood opulence shit.
It's flexing. It's flexing for the sake of flexing. That's wild, though. 3 fucking ceremonies. Like,
yeah, that's a little extra.
If you had the money, would you yourself go 3 fucking times? Right? Like, I guess, like, maybe they really love each other. And they're like, hell yeah, I'll marry you 3 times, bae. Why not? Ew. Oh, no.
Half-baked conspiracy theory.
Go for it.
The PR teams for both of them were like, this is a fucking cash cow.
You know where I would have took it just now? Maybe it's money laundering. Right?
Ooh. These are spicy takes.
Because why else would you get fucking married 3 times unless you just had to get rid of some fucking, like, expendable cash for, like, tax reasons? The fuck?
What if you sold your,
I mean, they do live in California, right, where they're raising the tax rates on people and shit. So,
I mean, you could also just sell your name and likeness in perpetuity to Disney.
Where are you going with this?
Marvel signs deal with Stan Lee's estate to use his name and likeness in future TV series, parks, and merchandising in perpetuity. Series? How do you feel about Winnie the Pooh as a horror movie? I'm imagining like Alice in Wonderland meets The Strangers. Because you saw those masks, like, they're all melty and shit.
So, okay.
The new movie, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, is the latest horror movie whose very title alone has got fans on the internet excited. So, Pooh, Piglet, and most of the 100 Acre Wood gang, created by A.A. Milne, fell into public domain in January 2022, explaining why this very un-Disney movie-like was able to be made. We know virtually nothing about this movie except for those images of, like, those super creepy Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. It's directed by Reese Waterfield, who is responsible for other movies such as Fire NATO and Demonic Christmas Tree.
Oh god. So what it sounds like is this is about to be one of those cult classic, like,
intentionally shitty horror movies.
Terrible fucking horror movies. Right, like Killer Clowns from Mars.
Snakes on a Plane. I love that movie.
Yeah, I guess that's like, I feel like that's more Sharknado territory. I'm thinking of movies like...
Snakes on a Plane somehow managed to be a good movie. Like, a good, bad movie.
Well, I mean, so is fucking, like, Killer Clowns from Mars, right? But it's, like, a terrible horror movie, son. Like, the acting in it is off. Like, have you ever seen The Blair Witch 2?
No.
Oh my god, that's another one, right?
You remember Blair Witch actually had people thinking that was legit?
Yeah, no, that's because of the fucking... Blair Witch is popular because of the fucking marketing campaign, right? Just like this movie is about to be popular because of the what the fuck about-ism. Like, what the fuck is this about? Why would Blood and Honey Now, I don't know if you've watched Winnie the Pooh lately, but I have 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
One of them very young, like months old.
Yeah.
And perfect time to go back and watch all of your favorite like children shit, right?
Yeah.
Just to indoctrinate them as
Yeah.
you would. Went back and watched Winnie the Pooh recently. That nigga Winnie the Pooh is quite a fucking asshole. This nigga just bust into Rabbit's house and ate all his fucking honey, right? Like, tortured them fucking bees for half an hour. You want to know why we have a bee problem? Because of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah,
right?
It's real easy to understand why Rabbit's a libertarian.
Wow. And Eeyore has depression, because if the only nigga you had to hang out was that nigga Winnie the Pooh, who is so self-centered it's not even funny. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is a horror movie featuring Winnie the Pooh as the main villain kind of makes sense if you really think about it.
You know what would make a great horror movie? A great bad horror movie?
Go ahead.
Mutant hamsters.
From Mars? No.
Nope. These are not mutant monsters from Mars. These are mutant hamsters from Northwestern University.
So, please explain to me what you mean by mutant hamster.
So researchers used a controversial CRISPR technology.
Oh, okay.
And we're examining
CRISPR.
And examining a hormone called vasopressin and its receptor AVPR1A.
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 So vasopressin and AVPR1A.
They tried to remove the latter with the expectations that it would increase bonding between the lovable little critters.
They tried to make hamsters that would love people more?
That would love each other more.
Oh, that would love each other more.
And that's because AVPR1A is understood to regulate things like teamwork and friendship.
Okay.
And,
so they tried to make more friendly hamsters.
Yeah. And, what happened went terribly wrong.
Excuse me?
They thought it would go terrible wrong. To quote, "We anticipated that if we eliminated vasopressin activity, we would reduce both aggression and social communication. But the opposite happened."
Wait, so they tried to make... Okay, so they were trying to make more docile hamsters.
Yeah.
As if hamsters weren't... Okay, so I guess they can be a tad bit aggressive. I don't know if you've ever had a hamster before, but them motherfuckers bite, right? Also, I have personally experienced a very horrific situation with a set of hamsters. My neighbor, this sounds like a friend of a friend story, but I promise you, on God, this shit is 100% true, son. We came home, this was like middle school, dog. Yeah, I'm taking it that far back. We came home from school, she had 2 hamsters. One hamster was pregnant. Don't ask us how we know that, but we knew that. We came home from school, and the pregnant hamster had her stomach eaten out and her head bitten off, and the other hamster was gone. Nowhere to be seen. It was not in the cage. So these scientists weren't... Yeah, that sounds like a wild story. It's true. 100% fucking true. It was one of the freakiest things I've ever fucking seen. To this day, I've seen some pretty freaky shit. Hamster homicide is not something that you want to come home to as a middle schooler.
What about hamster hate crimes? Because the academics found that the adorable bundles of fluff turned into mutant rage monsters, exhibiting high levels of aggression towards other same-sex individuals.
So
They're not only mutant hamsters, they're homophobic mutant hamsters.
wait, I wouldn't say that they're homophobic though, because it's not like they're beating up other hamsters having sex. So are they R-wording the other hamsters and then murdering them? Because that does...
It looks, if you look at the pictures, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Wow, that's some hamster on hamster violence, dude. Like, it's so... Okay, so once again, I feel like we need to call... Was it Jeff Goldblum who said it? Like,
Yeah.
But your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
This completely backfired. They were trying to make more docile hamsters, and what they ended up doing was make them, like,
Mutant rage monsters.
Hyper rage monsters.
You know what's even funnier? On my way over here, I was listening to the full history of Resident Evil.
Oh, God.
So I'm just thinking, I'm like, this is how the T-Virus starts. Like, this is how it goes.
No, and then we reported it here on the flood with Doc and Ziggy, and that's on everything.
And that's on everything. You know what something is typically everywhere?
Okay. No.
McDonald's.
Oh, yes.
McDonald's
No,
is typically, like, everywhere, right?
There's at least 2 of them within 10 miles of where we are currently located.
Yep.
At least.
At least. After 30 years in business in Russia, McDonald's has decided to leave. Now, this piqued my interest for one particular reason.
Right, because, I mean, so McDonald's has joined the the hundreds of
Corporations.
other corporations that have decided to take a stand in against what Russia is doing in Ukraine.
Yes.
But why has that piqued your interest and not any of the other countries, Zig?
Because there is this thing called the McDonald's theory. No,
what?
The McDonald's theory. It's actually a global political theory.
It's not the one that states that Ronald McDonald is holding all of the other mascots hostage in order to farm children through the McDonald's Foundation?
Is that a creepypasta, or did you just come up with that? Because that sounds like a good when Ronald McDonald goes to the public domain horror movie.
I plead the fifth.
Anyway, so the McDonald's theory is actually a global political theory.
Is this a real global political theory, or is this a Reddit global political theory?
It's fact.
Peer-reviewed fact?
Historical fact. The McDonald's theory is saying no 2 countries that have had McDonald's in them
Since McDonald's
has gone global. No 2 countries that have McDonald's in them have ever gone to war.
This feels like one of those...
This feels very Simpsons predicting the future to me.
No, this feels like one of those correlation is not causation kind of things, right? Like, it's a weird fact that just happens to be true, but it's not like something that is, like, determining.
But it is a fact that no 2 countries that have had McDonald's in them have gone to war.
So what you're suggesting is that now Russia
does not have McDonald's in it.
But I mean, that just means that doesn't mean that they're gonna go to war with the U.S. though. Like, there are so many. China has McDonald's.
Everybody thinks that, like, you know, the
Are there-
power rests in the president and the Senate. No, it's actually Ray Kroc.
I'm not to say that we're a corporatocracy, but I mean, like, the writing's on the wall, obviously, with the
And it's written in the community in the company handbook too.
McDonald's will not allow any countries to go to war that could risk the franchise brand. You can't fuck up the brand.
Gotta protect
bro,
the brand
at all costs. So
you want to know why
I guess that just means that Russia is fair game at this point. Right?
Yeah, and you want to know why a perfect example of why you have to protect the brand at all costs?
Why is that?
Well, in stupid news, Seth Green's Bored Ape NFT collection was stolen. And he had plans to develop a series based around all of them, but he can't because he no longer owns the rights to them because they're an NFT.
I don't know if you guys can hear my sighs. I don't know if they're audible as close as I am to the mic now. But I can't tell you how bored I am about hearing about NFTs, right? Like, I can't tell you how bored I am of hearing about NFTs, right? Like, I'm almost... And don't get me wrong, I like Seth Green, right? Like, funny guy.
Yeah.
I'm almost kind of
picked up by microphone.
happy.
Everyday sounds.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
How the fuck did you say an animated series featuring his NFTs?
Yeah.
Listen, Seth. I know. Listen, Seth. Robot Chicken. Fucking
Your
genius,
championship
bro.
ring.
Yes.
Robot Chicken is your
Yes.
championship ring, Seth Green.
Not Greg the Bunny, because I'm sure I'm one of the 5 people that remembers Greg the Bunny.
I liked him in Rat Race.
I liked Greg the Bunny. It was fucking hilarious. But can we please let NFTs die? It's so fucking stupid. I'm over it.
How many NFTs have you just downloaded as JPEGs?
None. Because I don't want to support this anymore. I thought it was a good idea at first. We can go back in the episodes.
There
We
is. There
first started
are
talking
episodes
about
where
it.
he's just like, NFTs, see, cool.
Yeah, no, it seemed like a good idea, right? For like digital artists to be able to take ownership of their space in the e-sphere, right? Because that is an issue, right? Especially with things like TikToks and memes. Like the girl who the girl who coined the term fleek, right? In
Yeah.
that fucking Vine, right? Like, she should be a fucking millionaire right now, right? Like, they put that shit on t-shirts, in commercials and all of that, and like, I don't know, I just feel like in the right world, she would have benefited from that some kind of way, right? Just
In a capitalist world?
no, not in the capitalist world, right? Like in a capitalist world, they took advantage of that shit, right? And they saw how much we liked it, and they were like, "Ooh, if we put Damn Daniel in a commercial and we throw him on Ellen and we give him free Vans, right? Like he got free Vans out of the deal. Let's not even forget that shit. That nigga got to go on Ellen. You don't even know the girl who said." Eyebrows on fleek. The fuck? You don't know her name, son. Come on with it. Like,
The Damn Daniel month
there's
was
layers.
so annoying for me.
There's layers to this shit, bro. There's layers to this shit. And it's so fucking wild to me that we exist in a world where fucking corporations like McDonald's and Coca-Cola can determine whether countries go to war or not.
Speaking of war,
It's extra meta, my nigga.
speaking of war,
Is it extra meta war?
no, the Secret Service just, busted a plot to assassinate George W. Bush by an Iraqi citizen who entered the country illegally.
Damn, and it had to be an Iraqi citizen too. Like, come on, man. Alright, like, this makes me feel... I feel a way about this, right? I mean, kudos to the CIA for busting another fucking assassination attempt, right?
Yeah.
Like, they stopped the governor of Michigan
From Michigan, yep.
from being, like, kidnapped by the fucking white
The
nationalists.
Wolverine Warriors!
Ugh. Thank you for reminding me of that dumbass fucking name, dude.
Yeah,
Oh my
dumbass
God.
name for a dumbass idea.
Play dumbass games, win dumbass prizes, dude. Like, that Homeland Security is fucking tight, son. It ain't no way. Like, at this point, the only people getting in here is getting in through the internet infrastructure because apparently our cybersecurity is shit. But them assassination attempts, you fumble.
AFK, they're like, alright, we can't let this happen.
You gonna
again.
fumble that every now. Ever since 9/11, my nigga,
Alright.
the United States has been like, listen, that was like a sting because of Pearl Harbor, right? Like,
Yeah.
it was like the same thing, kinda, just a tiny bit, right?
Civilians versus military, but...
Listen, so here we have an instance of. And then why go after George Bush, right? Like, that's my... Like, here we have an instance of, like, an Iraqi citizen coming over to America to settle some, like, decades-old beef, right? Like, this seemed old Block Wars type shit, right? you killed my cousin like 5 years ago, it's fuck you forever, right? Like,
We're gonna go back and touch on this, but I mean, like, that's literally the motivation for Kurapika in Hunter x Hunter.
also, that is an extreme reduction of the war in the Middle East, the invasion of the Middle East by the U.S. military.
I mean, they killed his entire clan and stole their eyeballs.
9/11.
Alright, you got it. 9/11, 9/11, 9/11.
Wow, how insensitive, sir. Can you please respect the fallen? I mean, honestly. I don't know what's worse. Me patronizing you for making that joke the way I did, or you actually making the joke? God, there goes
The NPR sponsorship.
Yep. Hello to the bar.
We've also mentioned 9/11 enough that we could probably just say high 10 the Fed.
I just feel like we're inches closer to fucking a guest seat on the Bill Maher show, and I'm gonna have to fight him at some point.
Yep.
Honestly, it's gonna.
At least, hopefully they at least bring us on with someone like Larry Wilmore.
I was gonna say Ben Affleck, right? Then that way, me and Ben Affleck can jump Bill Maher on his own show.
I like how the one that you're just like, Ben Affleck, that's who I want.
Well, that's because he went off on Bill Maher over fucking Islamophobia. Remember that whole clip went viral, right? So it's like, it'd be perfect. It's the perfect, like...
Time for a break! Well, everybody, you know we have to talk about it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What happened? What happened? Oh,
Somebody
it's like,
shot
we know
up.
what happened. We
Yeah,
know what the
yeah.
fuck happened. Why? Why? Did you really think I didn't know what we was gonna...
Yeah, no, I 100% knew what you... Yeah. So there was a shooting in Uvalde, Texas.
Uvalde,
Texas.
at Robb Elementary School.
Yup.
18-year-old kid. Right.
Bought the gun legally.
Drove his grandmother's car after he shot his grandmother in the face.
Who, last I checked, is actually still alive.
Yeah, no, from what I understood the last time I checked, she was still alive. There's so many questions I have here. This is like the Las Vegas shooting, like all over again to me, right? Like this is to me personally, even personally feels like a bit odd to use here. I'm just saying, like, it feels more like the Las Vegas shooting than it feels like Sandy Hook. The details of this are so confusing and nonsensical, and the more that comes out about the police response to the shooting,
The fact that it was actually Border Patrol who made the breach.
dude, it took them forever to go inside, right? Like, there are videos coming out of parents being like, do something, right? And the cops being like, go home, get out of here. More concerned about the parents who are concerned about their children than actually concerned with getting in the building. Like, I'm not trying to be sensationalist when I bring up the fact that there are articles talking about how police officers were concerned to go in and engage with the shooter, who was murdering children. The fuck did you sign up for, if not to protect the children? Dog, what the fuck else? This is why people are saying defund the police, right? If it wasn't any more obvious than Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, right? They let a whole fucking classroom get it, my nigga. Like, not to say that they could have prevented all of the deaths, but
Saving one.
2, 3, 4, who knows? Because they waited as long as they fucking could to go in that building, my nigga. And it took Border Patrol
the people who actually do have to chase down people.
The Texas Secret Police.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's not
Like,
pretend
they know what they're doing.
No, they don't. That's the problem with fucking Border Patrol, right? They shouldn't have been there in the first fucking place. You mean they called in Border Patrol but not the National Guard? That seems a little wild to me.
But I mean, at least Border Patrol's probably better equipped than your podunk Texas sheriff.
Yeah, because of reasons, right? Like,
Yeah.
they've been actively increasing the funding for Border Patrol ever since Donald Trump made the... Not just Donald Trump, right? Because it's been an issue since George Bush. But they've slowly but surely been increasing the funding that the Border Patrol is receiving. And
Was there a SWAT team?
I think at a point, but I don't have any of that information up in front of me right now. All I know is this and the response to it by Greg Abbott and
The Honorable Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz and Donald Trump, right, and the Republican Party, who is like taking this narrative of, oh, well, you know, he got in through the open door, the door should be secure, why are there so many doors on the school to begin with? How the fuck can you be a parent, my nigga, and go and look the people who elected you, right, to be in charge, in the face and go, oh, well, you know what the issue is, right? No, not just them, but the people who get paid to report the news to us, who get paid to look us in the face every night and tell us the things that we should think, right? Like, because I'm not being conspiracy theorist when I say this shit, but like, if you're just mindlessly watching fucking Tucker Carlson and shit, that's what the fuck you're doing, right? If you're just mindlessly watching, what the fuck is her name?
Laura Ingraham?
Not Laura Ingraham, the other one on CNN.
Rachel Maddow?
Yeah, if you're just mindlessly watching Rachel Maddow, right? Like, that's the fuck you're doing. Those people look us in the face, right? Like, I'm not saying that this was what all of them are doing, but the main narrative being pushed on that side of things is the door was unsecure. Right? Not, how the fuck did this 18-year-old get access to all of this fucking LARPing equipment, my nigga? Like, okay, not a joke, right? Not a time to make jokes. Sorry, but my nigga was kitted the fuck up. Are you serious, dog? He ran in there. Like the dude who ran in the fucking...
grocery store.
The grocery store, right? And it doesn't seem that
Legally
these
buys a
two-
gun, gets a bunch of other shit off Wish.
We're talking fucking bulletproof vest and shit. Like, this... Get it the fuck out, is what I said, right? Like, and how do we grapple with the balance here, right? Because, as I said a couple episodes ago, I'm not somebody who feels like gun rights should be too heavily restricted, right? But I do agree that these things should be better regulated, right? Because there's no reason that an 18-year-old should be able to access all of that fucking heavy artillery, and I don't care what UAR aficionados are going to say about the difference between an automatic and a semi-automatic. Shout out to all of my gun nuts. But we all know that this should not be happening.
So, I came up with a half-baked idea that a couple of my friends have already debunked, but I thought it was a cool idea, so I'm going to share it anyway. So I call it the electric fence theory.
Okay.
So basically, all new guns would get installed with this chip. It's not a GPS chip, but it's like a radio receiver, right? And then you could have, in that chip is a coded serial number. So you basically, around, churches, schools, public shopping centers, you basically like dig electric fence things underneath of the ground in a perimeter, and then when a gun with the radio signal transmitter goes into the area, the radio signal transmits the serial number to a database, which then triggers at a cop station, and it wouldn't be a GPS, but it could be trackable inside of the barrier because you could triangulate it within the barrier. So it would not put a GPS on your gun.
So, no, it would just alert the... I mean, that's not a bad idea, and like...
I got told it's like completely improbable because you have to bounce the signal so many times, and the cost of installing all the infrastructure would cost a gajillion dollars. But all the people I talked to about this were like, that's a cool idea.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. They're like, it's a cool idea.
It's not...
It's thinking outside the box.
It's not entirely impractical either, because we spend billions of fucking dollars on jets that don't work, right? So, to protect kids, you would think that it would be worth an investment in trying.
Also, the other problems with this is you would have to get legislation passed that would force the gun manufacturers to put this in there in the first place.
So that's the issue at hand, right?
And it would also only work on new manufactured guns. So anything prior to the thing being enacted
wouldn't be effective.
Wouldn't be effective.
Yeah, it wouldn't be effective against it.
Also, you can just wrap your gun in tinfoil.
So, potential Texas Governor Beto O'Rourke recently made headlines shortly after this
he's running for governor?
Uvalde, Texas tragedy. Didn't he run against Ted Cruz?
In the Senate race.
Yeah. So he was running for senator. Excuse me. Potential senator for Texas, Beto O'Rourke, made headlines just recently when he stepped forward at it's a press conference, right, that Greg Abbott was speaking at after the Texas shooting, and called Greg Abbott and his cronies out for promoting gun laws in the country that helped make this shooting possible, right? Like, you know, they continuously push down background checks and red flag laws, all kinds of different regulations in Texas, right? Texas is so fucking like free-handed with gun rights. It is I'm sure I would be surprised if it is not the gun capital of the United States, right? Like,
if not world.
That's what Texas wants to be, right? When things like this happen, when the overwhelming majority of people prefer heavier regulations on gun purchasing and gun use, you would almost be amiss to not take a closer look at the people who have made these kinds of things possible. 27 shootings, 27 school shootings have happened in this country since the beginning of 2022. One is too much.
Yep.
Right? Like, remember when Columbine was wild?
This guy, by the way, fits the exact Columbine stereotype.
Yeah, because let's not forget that shit was a stereotype. That was a propaganda piece put out to make those kids seem more innocent than what they were, when they were actually like fucking neo-Nazis who got off on the idea of fucking committing some kind of mass terrorism.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, a lot of this shit has already been said, and I also figured I would have less to say about this than you, considering you are the father.
Well, that's a decent portion of why I'm so enraged about this, right? But I'm also enraged about this because, like, if it happened on, like, a Harvard campus, right? Like, or it happened on an MIT campus, or any prep school in America, I just feel like legislation would be passed a lot sooner than what it is. And I'm not trying to make it a race issue because, you know, a lot of the kids at Sandy Hook were white and stuff.
I made the case. You said if Eminem was shot instead of Tupac, and I even went as far as to, like, it might be the death of the First Amendment.
The Second Amendment, you mean?
No. The restriction of freedom of speech.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I don't disagree with you, but it just feels like the country is so... Okay, so another thing that happened in reaction to this is a bunch of people on Twitter decided that they would ask Quinta Brunson of Abbott Elementary fame, right, to make an episode about her lighthearted show about a poor elementary school in Philadelphia that featured a school shooting, right? A comedy show featuring a predominantly black cast to feature a school shooting, to push a national reaction that would affect the hearts and minds of our government representatives. And Quinta was like, we're not okay. Like, if you guys are asking me to take my comedy show and use it to make a piece about gun violence...
What do you think this is? Blackish?
Or The Fresh Prince. But no, I totally feel her, son. Like, this is a fairly positive show that is receiving extremely positive ratings across the board, right? Like, it's one of the only, I think, NBC shows that has increased its viewer base since its debut. Like, most shows have, like, high debut ratings and then slowly, like, drop off.
Yeah.
This show is, like, picking up viewers as it continues to go on and is almost guaranteed to get another season to return in the fall. And people are like, hey, you know what you should do? You should make the final episode a school shooting episode. Could you imagine, like, if they ended Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry doing a murder-suicide?
That's not out of the realm of the question for Larry, considering how Seinfeld ended.
But it would be so fucking off the wall and random, like, people would entirely be fucking, like, mad about this.
But that's exactly how people felt about the end of Seinfeld.
I don't remember the end of Seinfeld.
They all, like, witness, like, somebody getting robbed, and then they laugh about it, and they get arrested and put in jail because they didn't, like, testify as witnesses.
Oh, well, I feel like that fits the end of Seinfeld, though,
It does!
because they're shitty people.
Yeah.
Right? I don't see Larry as somebody who snaps and does a murder-suicide. Right? Like, and I don't...
Rest in peace, Leon.
I don't feel a reason for Abbott Elementary to have a fucking school shooting episode in order to make our fucking government do something about the insanity that is an elementary school shooting. What the fuck is that even? Bro, like, it's not even, I mean, they're terrorists by definition, right? But it's not like we exist in a fucking, like, war-torn country, right? We look at shit like this, like, when fucking Somalian fucking terrorists, like, in...
Black Hawk Down? I mean, the Black Hawk Down is about Somali terrorists.
And Coney and all the child soldiers and shit like that. Like, we look at that, like, oh my god, at least it doesn't happen here. Meanwhile, there's been 27 school shootings this year. We're not even halfway through the fucking year yet.
It's like a war on mental.
Little Camille got a gun he got from the rebels to kill the infidels. An American devil's a bomb on his waist. A man told in his face 5 times a day and listened to heavy metal. Little Alex got a gun that he took from his dad that he snuck into school in his black book bag, his black nail polish, black books, and black bag. He'll blow away the bully that just pushed his ass.
Man, fuck that bully narrative too, dude. I'm tired of the bully narrative, because a lot of this shit ain't kids being bullied. A lot of this shit is sick kids who are not being given the help that they need, right? Even
or the attention they deserve or even require.
The mental health narrative too at this point is getting tired, right? Because it's like, how the fuck did this child get a hold? And 18 is still a fucking child, right? Like, you're not, like, it's crazy how you're old enough in this country to purchase a gun, but he can't legally buy a pack of cigarettes in a lot of the fucking states in this country, right? But he can shoot up a school legally. Get the fuck... What? It doesn't make sense. This is exactly why I said we're living in the weirdest fucking timeline ever. Everything feels like it's fake. I'm not the only one that fucking thinks that. The conspiracy theories are already fucking rolling in, right? Because, like I said, a lot of the equipment that he rolled in that fucking school with is expensive as fuck. How the fuck did this 18-year-old kid get a hold of all of that expensive equipment? I
did talk to my friend Brady. Shout out, Brady. Love you. He lives in Wisconsin. We actually met online playing League of Legends, and now he's like a homie.
Okay. So, what's the scoop from Brady, though?
So he's a lot like Banky. Like, I wouldn't know exactly how to describe Brady's politics, but I mean, he likes guns and he hunts, but he also gives a shit about people.
Okay, so sounds like me, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not against gun ownership, right?
He's one of the people I presented my electric fence thing to, and then I asked him, I was like, so, I mean, like, how much would a gun for, like, the Texas shooter use? And he's like, you can get something like that for as little as, like, $450. Less than a PlayStation 5.
That's rare, though. I feel like that's a deal. It's also a steal. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's also not likely.
It is one of our favorite phrases here, non-0% chance.
But also, taking into perspective that he lives in Texas, I feel like that increases the opportunity for that kind of deal to happen. But we're also talking about the ammo, which is not cheap. I don't care where the fuck you are. The fucking vest and stuff that he had, right? Like, it was a fucking headshot that took him out. Not to be crude or anything of the sort, but
let's also be true. You guys are all aiming for the head in Call of Duty.
Oh, it's bananas, right? Because, like I said, one of the main issues to come out of this is the police response is being called into question. And more or less, the lack of response from the police is being called into question, right? You have, like, these gung-ho officers who looking to advocate for their aggressive nature, but in this instance, they were shy of the Call of Duty, right? How do you reconcile that as a country where Biden just passed, like, and has been pushing for more funding of the police, right? And, like, but we're also looking to make police reform, and I don't know. Police reform, gun reform, there's so many issues that this country has to deal with. I don't understand at this point how we're going to deal with any of this shit.
We might just need to take a break. Now, for alright, I'm not going to joke about the Texas shooting. Second most important news of the week. So, a little guy named Yoshihiro Togashi joined Twitter, and he tweeted the corner of a piece of paper with some scribbles on it. And he said, 4 chapters done.
So,
within 2 days, this guy named Yoshihiro Togashi now has more followers.
I like how you're saying this guy. Like, let's keep
No. This guy, Yoshihiro Togashi,
okay,
has more followers than the official One Piece account. Because he posted that squiggle. Do you want to know why? Because that is 4 chapters of Hunter x Hunter that he is drawing.
I was gonna say, so that is relevant because, the
Yoshihiro Togashi, a creator of Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter. And married to the creator of Sailor Moon.
Is back at it with, as of the current moment, 4 chapters. 4 more chapters of the Hunter x Hunter series.
Yeah.
Has he said how many chapters he is looking to actually complete? No, none.
Yo, we've looked far enough into this and we're like, yeah, Togashi's still got a long, not like One Piece long, but he's got a long way to go.
So with Hunter x Hunter, does it look like there may be any like other news from him coming out, like any Yu Yu Hakusho news?
Oh no, Yu is wrapped up. I just, you know,
I mean, listen,
you remember
it's
how I came over here?
2022.
Like,
I don't believe anything is officially wrapped up. They brought He-Man back.
well, I mean, like they did an OVA to tell you like how Kurama and Hiei met each other, but as far as like the storyline of Yu Yu
but do you know how
Hakusho,
many,
it
like-
ended fine. Like it's a good ending.
Do you know how many different versions of like Gundam Wing and Tenchi Muyo there are? Like, there could totally be like a fucking Yu Yu Hakusho revamp. But that's not the point. The reason we are here talking right now is because Hunter x Hunter is officially back in the works with, as of we speak, 4 more chapters, and
He's probably gone maybe, I think, like another like 100-something chapters since from the end of the anime, right?
okay.
Gon has shown up in one of them. That's how much we have to go.
Damn, that's crazy. The main character of the series. I mean,
Showed up in one chapter so far. And it's
So-
just him, oh no, I can't use Ned after I was resurrected. And then it goes to Jing, and Jing's like, well, you should just be happy you're not dead. Now let's focus on Kurapika. Which I'm happy about, considering Kurapika hasn't been around for 2 arcs.
Okay, so what does it look like? So that's all the information we have, what these 4 chapters could look like. There's no telling what this...
Well, we know we are currently on the whaleboat, which is on the way to the Dark Continent. It's a
Okay.
2-month-long
So we're
journey.
on the way. So this is a continuation of the Dark Continent arc.
And the King's Succession arc and the Dark Continent arc, which are basically running concurrent.
Okay. So...
Heavily
what are
Kurapika
you-
based. Also, the Phantom Troop is involved. Also, when the anime inevitably starts back up again, because like everybody on that anime has just been like, "Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet?" Krollo and Hisoka fight.
So,
That's already fully drawn and done. So when the anime does pick up, we get Krollo versus Hisoka for
so
real.
It sounds like that's what you're most excited about, because that was going to be my question, is what are you hoping for from this continuation?
I want the anime to keep going. However, I am also reading the manga because I love, and this is the only manga I've read.
So you're just excited that the anime is continuing, right? Like, there's nothing that you, as a fan, like, would want to see, or you're expecting to see, like, anything that you're hoping for from this continuation.
No, because I trust Togashi.
That's okay. So, well, I mean, let us know what you guys like would like to see from this continuation. If there's anything that you're hoping happens here with these next 4 chapters, or as we move forward in general.
And I mean, chapters, like 4 chapters it's not even a month of Shonen Jump releases.
No.
It's not even a month. But the important thing is if he keeps going.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what the general hope is. But I mean, as far as
The anime's
storyline
nickname has been
goes-
Hunter X Hiatus for the longest time.
Listen, as somebody who was a fan of High School of the Dead and will never get to see the like fruition of what that anime could have been, I'm happy for you guys, right?
Now, I mean, we were saying, like I said, Yoshihiro Togashi got more followers for posting some scribbles and 4 chapters done. Oh, he also posted another tweet where it was like a tree, but there was no caption. My favorite tweet response to it was somebody saying, "How this tree represents Gon and Killua's relationship. A thread. 1 out of 648.
Would you say that Togashi is the Kendrick Lamar of the anime world at this point, or of the manga world at this point? Oh god, dude, what was it? 1,865 days since Kendrick's last album?
I'm gonna say he's the Led Zeppelin of anime.
You just had to make it white, didn't
The
you?
unquestioned GOAT that disappeared for the longest.
That we can do. So the GOAT.
I think
one
Led
of the
Zeppelin
goats.
is like, I think Led Zeppelin should almost be objectively considered the greatest band of all time.
They're a cover band.
The greatest cover band. Whoever the hell wrote Achilles' Last Stand, Led Zeppelin did it better. Sorry.
There are people who are gonna be like, you don't even listen to rock music, how could you say that? I do. And I said it because it's true.
But as we were saying, like, Yoshihiro Tagashi, his Twitter Tagashi got more Twitter followers than the official One Piece account. He doesn't even have a blue check mark yet.
And that's crazy because of all the One Piece memes and stuff like that, so it's really like...
That should show you how important Tagashi is.
Well, I mean, that's just to show how heavy this fan base is, right? Like, the Hunter x Hunter fan base has been so thirsty for this Tagashi drip that as soon as he posted his unverified Twitter account, they jumped on that shit.
They had to go. I think they had to go to one of the writers of another anime to be like, "Is this legit?" He's like, "Yeah, no, that's really Tagashi."
Is this really happening?
This also now confirms that the other Tagashi Twitter is not the real Tagashi.
So there was a Tagashi account beforehand.
Yeah,
right?
but it was somebody impersonating Tagashi. But he was like, it was good enough to where we were like, it's like 60-40% troll versus real Tagashi. Like,
maybe it's really him. It's good enough in the meantime.
But we were talking about, like, Tagashi might be one of the most influential people in anime and manga of all time, but I brought up to you, if you remember, from way back when, VH1 did a list of the top 200 pop icons.
I remember that, but I'm not gonna lie to you and sit here and pretend like I remember all 200 of those icons, or who was even in the top 10.
Well, let me tell you who was in the top 10. And this list was released early 2000s. Number 10, Michael Jackson. Number 9, Princess Diana.
Michael Jackson was number 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 8, Michael Jordan. 7, Madonna. 6, Marilyn Monroe.
I'm already mad at this.
5, hold your laughter, Tom Cruise.
Did they really put Tom Cruise over top of Michael Jackson?
Number 4, Lucille Ball. Number 3, Elvis. Number 2,
what the fuck?
Superman.
How the fuck do you put Elvis above Michael? Listen.
Number 1, Oprah Winfrey.
As the most influential pop
icon. As the top pop icons.
The top pop icon. Oprah. This shit is so baffling. I can't even fucking talk, my nigga.
Is there anyone on that list that you keep in the top 10?
Okay, so obviously, like, Michael, and I feel like Elvis deserves to be in there, but Elvis should probably be where Michael is, right? At like 10, right? Because it's hard to argue that Michael wouldn't have been influenced by Elvis necessarily at some point, right? Like, I'm sure both him and Prince were. Was Prince in the top 10? I don't remember.
Nope.
Prince wasn't in the fucking top 10.
Nope. He's not in the top 25.
No disrespect to
Fred
Oprah.
Flintstone is over Prince.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
So is Kermit the Frog.
Shut the fuck up. How the fuck is a puppet more influential than Purple Rain? Well, okay. Alright. When the Muppets needed a hit, who did they call? That's right. They fucking called Prince. God damn it, dude. How is this list aggregated? Because it's already making me mad. I know you don't know.
I tried to figure out how it was voted on, and I couldn't fucking find it. They had Prince at 132.
132? That's disrespectful as fuck. That's disrespectful as fuck. And Oprah being number 1, I'm not...
They had David Bowie at like 170 something, so I'm not too thrilled about this list either.
I'm not arguing that, like, Oprah's not an influential celebrity, right? I just feel like to have her at number 1 is not fucking realistic, dude.
Do you think she's in the top 10?
Maybe top 25.
Okay, so in this top 10, who do you keep? Oprah, Superman, Elvis, Lucille Ball, Tom Cruise, Marilyn Monroe, Madonna, Michael Jordan, Princess Diana, and Michael Jackson.
Both Michaels, Madonna, Marilyn, Lucy, Elvis, Superman.
That's a lot more than I was gonna keep. It's a lot more than I was gonna keep.
I mean, I feel like there's argument to be made that each one of those people that I kept have made an impact, a lasting impact on the aesthetic of culture as we see it today.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't think Madonna is as important as some other people that have come up.
No, but I'm talking about in like perspective of when this article was written. Because when was the article written?
It was in like 2000.
Yeah, so as of 2000, right? Like, it's hard to deny the influence of a Madonna.
Oh, well, yeah,
as
in
of
2000.
It was hard to deny the influence of an Elvis or a Michael Jackson, right? Or even Superman, who had one of the only, like, comic book movies at the time, right? And was probably, and to this day, is still the most, like, influential comic book character of all time, right? You can ride that cape all you want to, sir, but I guarantee you that Superman is way more recognizable around the globe than Batman is.
I never said Batman.
I never said Batman.
However, with prep time, he would find a way to the top of this list.
Also, Madonna, Marilyn Monroe, thousands of female comedians. Thousands of female comedians sounds a bit like hyperbole. But Lucille Ball, right? Elvis.
Now, here are some that I thought of.
Tom Cruise can go kick a bag of rocks.
So, here are some that I thought of. Kanye. Drake.
Right.
Dr. Dre.
Yes.
Snoop Dogg.
For sure.
Jay-Z.
For sure.
Beyonce. Rihanna. Kim K. LeBron. Elon Musk. Dave Chappelle.
It was up until you got to Kim K and Elon Musk that I was like, so all you were doing is adding some color to this list?
Tarantino. Kevin Feige.
Oh, for sure. No.
Stan Lee.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Stan Lee definitely deserves to be on this list.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't know if I would say...
he definitely deserves to be on this list.
I guess... Yeah, I would put him... I still would probably only put him in the top 25, though.
I disagree with how big the Marvel franchises have become.
I feel like that's
and the impact on
Amerocentric.
comics in general.
I feel like that's Amerocentric.
Isn't this whole list Amerocentric?
Yes. So if we're looking at it from the frame perspective of American influence, right, then I still would probably only put Stan Lee in the top 25, dude. And he might be like fucking 20, right? Or 19 or even 15. But I
put some other honorable mentions like Chadwick Boseman, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, Jon Stewart.
I almost put Trey Parker and Matt Stone above Stan Lee. And that sounds crazy, right? But I feel like we are sitting in the perspective of the comic book bubble.
I would put Randy
right
and
now.
Cartman over Trey and Matt.
As
I would put Stan Lee over Randy and Cartman.
I feel like you're saying that because we are sitting in the superhero bubble right now. But you have to remember there are people in this country who don't give a fuck about Marvel movies.
Doesn't change the fact of how pervasive they are in culture.
Yeah, but that's because it's the culture capitalizing on not a micro genre, but like on a fandom, right? Like the fandom is there. There are tons of people who enjoy going to see these movies, but I don't know how sustainable that influence is, right? Like, I'm not saying that these movies aren't popular right now, but what I'm saying is are they influential?
Yes, because there's so many of them. It's hard to not be influential at that point.
But they haven't really changed Kevin Feige and them haven't changed the way movies have been made. They're just changed the way that superhero movies are perceived. So...
And presented.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that these movies are influential. It's not like you see a bunch of movies being made in the style of Marvel movies now.
Thanos snap is a phrase.
Yeah, but will that be lost to time, though? Like, Elvis's aesthetic is still, like, culturally relevant to this day. Like, when you see that, like, pop collar, like...
Pompadour.
Yeah,
Yep.
like, you know that's Elvis, right? Like, the same thing with Superman, right? Like, the giant red S. Like, Superman himself can fade as a character, but that red S will be on shit to sell shit for decades to come.
Yeah. I mean, same with the Cap Shield, with the Bat Signal. Like,
I'll give you the Bat Signal. I don't know about Cap Shield. You gotta remember, Captain America was a, like, D-list comic book character until Kevin Feige. That's why I said I'll give Kevin Feige and them that respect. They took two characters that almost nobody other than, like, Ghostface Killer and Extreme Patriots cared about. Nobody cared about fucking Iron Man and fucking Captain America, dude. Marvel's most popular comic book character was Spider-Man. The only other comic book character...
The only Marvel character that was on this original list.
The only other superhero to actually rival Superman's popularity. Dude, like, you have to remember, Batman was a popular character, but not as popular as fucking Spider-Man.
So, the thing is, I was looking at all of the hip-hop artists and rappers on here, and
yeah,
I was like, Kanye, Drake, Snoop, Dre, and I'm like...
I almost feel
if I'm thinking, like, pop icon... If I'm thinking straight up pop icon out of all of them, I think number one is Snoop Dogg.
A toss-up between Snoop Dogg and Jay-Z, to me, right? Because
I was gonna say Snoop or Dre.
No, the only other person I would put up there as far as pop icon goes, this is the three-way tie to me between Snoop, Drake, and Jay-Z, right? Because when you think of...
Where's Kanye? Hard to deny his influence.
It's hard to deny his influence, but that's only because of the persistence of Kanye, right? Like, if Kanye was not the extreme figure that he is, he would not be talked about as much.
The reason I say Snoop Dogg, though, is, like, my mom knows who Snoop Dogg is.
Agreed, but your mom also probably has heard of Drake. There's a reason I said heard of and not knows.
My mom, like, knows Snoop Dogg. Like, Snoop Dogg, there's the whole... The reason
It's
we have the whole
you-
when's the last time Snoop Dogg found you game, which, by the way, for me was yesterday.
It's because he's ubiquitous, right? Like, Snoop has done a great job at diversifying his brand. Jay-Z has done a great job at living the rap narrative, right? That from ashy to classy narrative is wholly personified in Jay-Z. Drake currently is the face of global, worldwide hip-hop, right? The only other person I feel like you could possibly give that to is Eminem, right? But at the moment, like, when you think big rap star, you think Drake. So I almost feel like you could probably just put hip-hop as a genre on there. And, I mean, I guess maybe, you know, single out, like, the three that we said. But other than that, yeah. That top 10. Dude, that top 10.
The fact that Tom Cruise was number 5 on this list is just another reminder
That
none of this is normal. Now, remember, if you need any Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Flesh or Blood, Yu-Gi-Oh! Go check out TokenMTG.com. If you use the promo code Ziggy, you'll get 10% off of your order. Also, don't forget to check out our sister podcast, Fuck It, I'm 40, and our brother podcast,
Straight No Chase, that's on IG, and you know where to find us. That's at the Flood Pod on everything.
and that is on everything. If you really want to help us out, we actually do now have a Patreon with 3 tiers for $5, $10, and $20.
There you go. There you go.
You get a free sticker with any one of them, a t-shirt with the max one, and, like,
access to the video when we record video. And we appreciate you guys for stopping by with us every week. Y'all be safe out there.
Deuces!
Look, it's a flood!
The flood.
It's flooding!
Get away!
Quick, we need to get to higher ground!
Open the floodgates.
Wait, why can't we talk about
It
black
is
stuff?
time to